Hello, and welcome to behind the scenes of Mercenary Dance. In this video we'll cover most of the process involved in recreating the scene. Let's begin with the map. It's just a big box with some water and operators. You can see all the settings here. I spent a long time working on the water and here's the result. It's Water Coast 5 with 1 cuber map. It's animated in TF2, but not in SFM. I went ahead and extracted every frame and sorted into folders. The setup was a black background image, the reference on the top left, and the locked and transparent SFM window, which I got by using Windows scripts. I basically went over every single frame, placed the camera, and posed the models as close as I could to the original frame by frame in the graph editor. Here's how the shots look from the side. Heavy's head is resized to get the blur closer to the original, because otherwise it was too much. 2 types of boats were used. The original one from Left 4 Dead and a modified version without some cables and railings. The cables were in front of the camera and the railings were clipping through the floor, which was made from lots of small parts. The sails are stretched, recolored rectangles from the workshop. Models of the dancers were also resized for perspective reasons. Spy and Sniper were made bigger, whilst Scout smaller. Everything was moved downwards to sync the camera with the water and the sky. The models are rotated to get the sky gradient. And there's an additional part of the sniper behind to cover up the neck/collar holes. This clip was one of the most difficult ones to replicate. I had to render it 3 times with different skyboxes and toggled clouds. Every single cloud is hand placed. I had 3 skins to work with. I got the warp effect by changing the FOV and moving the camera with the locked clouds and particles. The dancers are usually above the ground because the yacht in the original had an additional floor. I got that effect by adding this little piece here. I used an accidentally broken HDR skybox to get the exposure effect. Some models have broken necks, but the perspective makes that less noticeable. I did that to make the animations look like the original. Majestic. It looks even better when the legs move. The smoke was going sideways because the boat was moving, so I just reversed the clip, which is a neat trick and debug. Once again I rotated everything to get the lighting right. Here's the original texture, which I recolored. I got the black eye effect by writing these attributes, changing the texture to black, and moving the pupils. As I've already mentioned, there were different skyboxes which I changed through the console. I've also changed the eye size for most laser caro shots. A similar technique was used for Fugo's eyes. Mista's gun is a recolored enforcer. The disc changes its color depending on the orientation. It has a rainbow light warp from the workshop. Moving on to Zucchero. There's a smaller copy behind to cover up the hole in the eye. The smoke is dynamic. It changes color as time goes on. The zipper is from a warp model of Sticky Fingers. And here's some cut content. Tried to replicate these parts, but they turned out too time consuming. This side shot has lots of layers. Here's how it looks in Photoshop. Sometimes I use locator lines to find the necessary parts of the model. The rainbow spiral consists of these layers. These are most of the map, miscellaneous and beta texture files. The white glint in the eyes was manually removed in Premiere. Phew. Now on to editing. There are 2 overlaid tracks to lighten the color. For the side shot I rotated the layers from Photoshop with varying speeds. I made lots of custom lens flares via Sapphire plugins. This shot consists of 2 masked and skewed flat pictures, moving in 3D space in After Effects. On top of that I added lots of rectangles, left only their outline, and fiddled with the settings. Every single path was handmade with varying speeds, sizes, gaps, and at the very bottom there's a burnt dot. The spinning shot has a few layers with varying speeds and a mask to soften the color on the right. For this shot I made a mask via chroma keying and using the pen tool, removed the excess, and added a lens flare as light rays. The pipes were sticking out on the left and clipping through Narancia's hands, so I had to remove the excess via masking. Once again I removed the glint in the eyes frame by frame by adding small black dots. For the diagonal shot I used a similar technique with rectangles, but went over and changed the colors with keyframes for every single light particle. In this shot I added the shadow effect called Death Rays, made a mask via chroma keying and using the pen tool, because the shadows affected everything, removed the excess, and added a lens flare as light rays. Coming back to the yacht shot. I masked out the clouds with the pen tool and overlaid the exposure clip. There were several masks used, and in every frame overlapping clouds were removed. Another custom lens flare. These side shots are reversed as I've mentioned earlier. Each 4 has been moved and resized manually with keyframes. And the last oil paint shots were made via Photoshop. Here's a little bonus. These are shots from the Ultimate Sniper Guide. This is just a quick overview. Should I make a full breakdown of the USG Part 2? Leave your answers down in the comments. And once again, thank you for watching. I hope you learned a few tricks from this. Good luck.